just wanted to give like a quick little, this camera angle is wonkadoodle, and that's just what it is. I wanted to give a quick update about what's going on. So this week was my last week in the 30 books in 30 days. And I read actually like nothing. Like, that's not true. I finished a book on yesterday. I finished 2 books yesterday. But that's because I decided to start this little challenge. But up until Friday, I had literally finished not a single book, which was embarrassing for my last week of this reading challenge. So I decided what I'm going to do, what I've already started doing, was I'm going to make this a 24-hour readathon over the course of 3 days. Mostly over 2 days, because really I didn't read that much yesterday, even though I did finish 2 books. But I have read 4 hours and 17 minutes so far since Friday, and I plan to read like another 20-ish over the next 2 days to see if I can like get that total up. So like I mentioned, I had finished 2 books yesterday. I finished Heated, which I'll put up here. I didn't like this book. I finished it only because it was for like a reading vlog that I'm doing, or a reading video I'm doing. I'm doing like a Kindle Unlimited video, and this is one of the books I selected, and so I felt like I needed to finish it, but I didn't really enjoy it. It is a fake dating trope romance. It takes place in Denver, which was kind of fun, but it's not written by someone from Denver, and you could kind of tell. So like a lot of the references were like very accurate, but they were like, the way that people talked about them was like slightly weird. Like there's a reference, I think one of the characters lives in Wash Park, which is technically Washington Park, but like it's always called Wash Park. Like I didn't even know that its official name was Washington Park until like a few years ago. Like it is Wash Park, and I don't know, just like the locations were right, but like they were referenced strangely, which like kind of took me out of the text a little bit, and I just like didn't vibe with the style. I felt like it was like a very fast read. I think I tend to like a little bit of a longer romance, a little bit of a slow burn, and it just like wasn't for me. But I did read Heated, and then I also read the entirety of The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I would say this is my least favorite Lucy Foley I've read. I feel like Lucy Foley does setting so well, and I think we got a good setting in the apartment building, but I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of Paris. I didn't feel like I had a great sense of like Paris as a city in this book. This follows this woman who goes to stay with her half-brother in Paris, but when she gets there he's missing, and she is living in this like kind of strange apartment building, or he's living in this kind of strange apartment building, and she's living in his apartment, and she's trying to find him. He's gone missing, so she's trying to find him, but also kind of uncover whatever is going on with this apartment building. I thought it was like, some of the twists were like really interesting. The group of characters was like really interesting. Like it wasn't a bad thriller by any means, but it's definitely my least favorite. Like I really enjoyed both the guest list and the hunting party a little bit more than this one, and I think that was probably because both of them are like kind of similar in that they're both kind of like isolation-y. We're like really stuck with the central cast of characters, where we got, I mean, they're like in Paris, and I didn't have quite as strong a sense of setting in this one. But I love a book in Paris, and I love the cover of this one. Love anything with pink on it. And then I'm not very far into this one, but I'm like, I don't know. It's a collection of short stories. So I've been kind of reading these short stories interspersed between my other reading updates. And this is like a science fiction, speculative short story collection. A lot of these stories so far have centered around dating. I don't know if that'll continue throughout the book, but I've really enjoyed them. They're really interesting, fun little short stories. It's called Out There by Kate Folk. I picked this up because Kayla from Books and La was like, I really enjoyed this, and I've really enjoyed it so far. It's been really good. So I'm normally not a huge short story reader, not because I hate them, just because I like don't think to pick them up. I don't get recommended them a ton, but I tend to really enjoy them when I do pick them up, because they're such a nice thing to have, I think, to like mix in with your other reading. And I love having lots of books on the go. And then the 2 other books that I'm kind of working on right now is I have Boys in the Boat, which I don't know if I'll finish during this 24-hour reading vlog. It is a nonfiction book. It's like very like narrative nonfiction, but it is nonfiction, and I feel like it reads a little bit slower, but it's really good so far. I'm about 100 pages in. I think it's like 400 pages, about a quarter of the way in. It is about the 1941, I think it is about the team that won or went to the Olympics for the United States in the 1936, 1941, the Olympics that took place in Nazi Germany. It's about the rowing team that went there. So we are still like early early in the process, so they're still like building the rowing team, but I'm enjoying it really so far. It came highly recommended. There's lots of people who have recommended this book, and I'm enjoying it. And the other thing I just started this morning is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. This is again for that same Kindle Unlimited video. We'll see how it goes. I find Colleen Hoover is typically either like hit or miss for me. I think she's like very readable. I say that all the time. I don't know if that sounds like an insult. I think it's just like facts. I think it's kind of an enjoyable part of her work. Her work is very like compelling to read. It's very easy to read, and so I'm excited for Colleen Hoover. I'm sure I will whip through that today in my reading journey. So those are the plans. Those are the plans so far. I'm sure I will read quite a few books today and tomorrow, but I will be sure to keep you updated. Welcome back to the final 30 books in 31 days update. It is August 1st now. It's officially not July, and as I'm filming this, I think this will be going up tomorrow. And I did get some books read. I read 24 books in July. So we are 6 short of my 30 goal. But like overall, we did pretty well for ourselves. I think we did pretty well. Wrap up my failed 30 books in 31 days. It makes sense that I wrapped it up with a failed 24-hour and 72-hour reading, like readathon. I think it makes sense that that is what happened. I did get to 19 hours of reading over the course of the weekend. And here's the thing. I was only 5 hours short, which is, you know, quite a few hours. But what wound up happening was these hours were supposed to take place on Sunday. On Sunday I was supposed to, you know, finish that up. And then at like noon, my friend texted me and was like, hey, do you want to go see a play this afternoon? And I did go see that play with her instead. We went and saw Pride and Prejudice. It was weird. It was like a comedy adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. And did I have a bad time? No, I don't think so. I think my friend did. She's like 100% like a Jane Austen purist. She did not know what she was signing up for, and I do think she had a bad time, but I had like an okay time. It was a weird experience, and they completely cut Kitty from the play, so offensive to Kitty. It was a little bit of a weird experience, but that is why I didn't finish my 24-hour readathon. I read until midnight last night, and that's as far as I got. So try my best, but I am going to go through all of the books I read during those 19 hours that I was reading, because I did get through quite a few books. So I'm going to kind of do a wrap up here, because I also like completely gave up on vlogging on Sunday, so I don't think I have very many clips. So we're just going to like give brief recaps and my thoughts on all of the books I read. So, and we're going in backwards order because I said so. So last book I finished this just a few hours before the readathon, or like probably like 30 minutes before midnight, was Shipped by Angie Hoffman. This is a cute little rom-com. It is like 100% exactly like The Hating Game meets The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Like exactly that. It is about these two people who work for like a cruise company, and they're like they're competing for the same promotion, and they wind up getting sent on a cruise together. They've never met in person because he has always worked remotely. And then obviously there's chemistry, and then romance ensues. It was so cute. I loved it. It ended with like a girl boss power moment too, which was fun, because that was like a subplot, and I loved how they wrapped up that subplot. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time. A good, cute cartoon romance. It's been on my to-read list for like actual years, but I'm glad I finally read it because I really enjoyed it. Before that, I read Satin Sinner by Nicole Fox. This is for a Kindle Unlimited video I'm doing next week, and I loved it. I love a mafia romance. This is not my favorite. I will like nothing so far has been able to top J.T. Jesserden's Queens and Monsters series. I love that series. It is like unhinged in all of the best ways, but this had like enough drama, enough tension to keep me happy. It is about this girl who on her wedding day, she like walks in on her best friend and her fiance like chatting about how they've been having an affair like this whole time. And so obviously she leaves her wedding, and she winds up meeting this mob boss who takes her on aboard his cruise ship and quickly falls in love with her. There's a second one, and I will be reading it because this is my kind of garbage. Perfect. Then I read one of the first of the Feminist novellas by Ali Hazelwood. I plan to read all of these, but like they're slow coming in from my library. I read Under One Roof, which is about this girl who has just gotten her PhD in environmental science. She moves in with this lawyer who works for like an oil company, and they move in together because they both inherited like half of a house, and so now they either have to now they have to live together. Okay, and they like don't like each other at first, but then obviously romance ensues, surprisingly. I thought it was sweet. It was fast. It was like 100 pages. And I had a great time. I also read Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. This is, I think, one of Colleen Hoover's more recent releases. Like, I want to say maybe last year. I read this one because my mom loved it. And I think it makes sense. This is the only Colleen Hoover book I've read and not cried in. And I think that's why my mom liked it. She doesn't like a sad book. But it was good. It had like a cute little, it was like a very subtle Colleen Hoover twist. And again, I didn't cry, which is like kind of nice. I do love a crying book, but this one didn't make me cry, which is shocking for Colleen Hoover. It follows this girl who moves in with her dad after her mom overdoses, and she's like very estranged from her dad, and now her dad is like super wealthy, and then she falls for the boy next door. And then obviously he has a secret because this is a Colleen Hoover book. Then I read another thriller. I read Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough. She wrote Behind Her Eyes, that book that became a Netflix adaptation last year, and I read that and enjoyed that. It was one of the first, I read that like back a few years ago. This Insomnia was for another video that is coming out, but I enjoyed it. It was a good thriller. I accidentally got the large, I'm pointing because it's right over there. I accidentally got like the large print version from my library, and like I might have to start getting the large print versions more often. I thought it was going to really annoy me, but it was really nice because I could read it in much lower light. And like a normal book, I like need it to be pretty bright because I don't know, I'm old, I have bad eyes. I did accidentally get the large print version of this book, so like the words are giant. So this is probably not going to take me very long to read because I'll be flying through the pages so fast I'll be getting paper cuts. It was fun. It had like kind of a, not the same twist as Behind Her Eyes. It's not gonna be like a repeat, but do go into it kind of knowing that Sarah Pinborough does like to play slightly in the like speculative adjacent world, like supernatural-ish, because I think sometimes if you go in being like nothing supernatural can be the explanation for this, you're like disappointed by the twists, because the twists are often like a little bit supernatural, not like super crazy supernatural, but like a little bit. I'm like a third of the way through Out There by Kate Folk. This is a collection of short stories and I like loved it. I've really been enjoying it. They're like science fiction, relationship adjacent short stories, and I just have really been loving it. I think if you liked Her Body and Other Parties, it is like not the same vibe because this is very like science fiction-y, where Her Body and Other Parties is a little bit more horror, but I think they have like very similar like vibes. Like if you like this one, that one, I think you'd really like this one. And then I'm like almost done with Mary Oliver's collection of poems called Blue Horses. I think this is her last collection. 2014. I don't know. It came out 2014. I think this might be her last collection. Who doesn't love a Mary Oliver poem? Sprinkling these two in between reads, but I haven't finished either of them. But they should be finished in my August wrap up. So that is everything I read over my like 19-hour readathon. And I will put a graphic up of everything I read over the course of the entire month. But I didn't have any 5 stars this month. When I tell you somewhere like is maybe 5 stars, it's like right on the cusp between 4.5 and 5. I haven't decided exactly where it's going to go. But it wasn't like an excellent reading month for me. And I think part of that was because I was trying to pick books I would read quickly. And that is probably something I learned from the 30 and 31 challenge, is that for me, books that I can read fast are almost always romances and thrillers. And right now I'm just like not in my, I like love a romance book, will never stop loving a romance book. But the books I've been giving 5 stars have been more literary fiction these days. And fantasy books, and those just really don't align well with reading quickly, and so it's making me rethink how I might want to plan my reading goals for next year. Next year I might not have a total book count goal, but I might have like a star goal. Part of me is like, what if I just like decided my goal was to read at least like 25 5 stars, you know? That way it wouldn't be so much about getting books in and more about just like reading good books, because like I love a KU book, but almost never are they 5 stars. They're like often 3-4 stars, but they're like 5 stars, I think is hard to come by in the KU universe, you know? Anyway, I'm still not caught up on my reading goal, which was like the hopes for this. I'm 8 books till I'm back on track though. So I'm back up from like, I was at like 15. So, you know, if I keep up a fast pace, maybe we can actually get to our reading goal. But that is it. That is my wrap up of 30 books in 31 days. I hope you enjoyed this series. I have more videos coming soon. Subscribe if you would like to see them. Like this video, leave a comment. You know how to do things. You've been here before. Have a great day. I will talk to you later. Bye.